Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about Food Addicts Anonymous and why I chose not to join. A couple of weeks ago, I heard from a friend who I knew she had lost some weight, and I asked her how she did it, and she said she lost 100 pounds going to something called FA, which I had never heard of before, but FA stands for Food Addicts Anonymous. I'm not sure why it's not FAA, but in any case, it's Food Addicts Anonymous, and it's structured after the Alcoholics Anonymous program. So I went. I just went with curiosity and went to a meeting. There was one not too far from my house, and it happens every Monday. Um, and it was very interesting. There was several people that got up and talked and shared about how they lost weight, and several people were talking about how they'd lost 100 pounds or more, and they've kept it off for 5, 10, longer, 20 years. And so it was very compelling. They also had a saying, find somebody that has what you want and ask them for help, or something like that. And so that was interesting too, and I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. I think the reason I'm choosing not to do FA is because, and I'm not saying FA is bad or wrong or not right for you, but for me, the reason I made the decision not to continue to go back, well, there's a couple of reasons, so let's talk about them. The first one really is that I think it would play into a pattern that I've found that I've had in my life, that I want to get out of, and I want to practice less, and that is sort of black and white thinking, or good versus bad, good versus evil, black or white, all or nothing is another flavor of this pattern. And in my history as an eater and as a dieter, I noticed that I tended to play into that, right? So I'm either on a diet, doing all the things perfect, doing keto or paleo or zero fat or whatever it is, and losing weight, but by really depriving myself and by following a very strict structure. And it works, but it doesn't stick. And so that's the all. I'm doing all, or I'm doing nothing. And when I get tired of doing everything perfectly, I'm just like, F it, I'm going to eat whatever I want, right? And then I gain the weight back, maybe gain more than I had lost. And in any case, I can see that there's a definite all or nothing. I mean, they don't say it that way, but the strictness of it. So in FA, they use the word abstinence. So it's similar to AA in that you don't drink at all. You're sober, essentially. You're getting sober, so you're not having alcohol. Well, it's a little bit different, because with food, we have to eat to live. But the abstinence definition for FA is no sugar, no flour, no alcohol. And I think that there's more no's in there, but those are the main ones: no sugar, no flour, no alcohol. And if you do that for 60 days, then you're 60 days abstinent, is the word I think that they use. So it's very much the all. And there's also a bit of a shame thing happening in the language, at least for me, the way I interpreted it. There was the words character flaws came up a lot. So I heard people in there share, I had to confront my character flaws. I had to work on my character flaws. And I just really find that language to be not helpful. I think the way to losing weight is to love yourself and not to fix yourself. So I'm going to be practicing instead loving myself at the weight that I'm at, and choosing to eat healthier because of the way it makes me feel when I eat healthier. And I think that's quite a bit different than just jumping in, going abstinent, no sugar, no flour, no alcohol. And then, of course, there's the whole support system. And FA has a great support system. It was a beautiful thing to be approached by 5, 6, 7 women and say, hey, we're here. Here's a phone list. You can call any of us anytime when you get stuck, or when, just practice calling people and practice being in community. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. But for me, it kind of conjures up this idea of like when things get hard, I've got to grit my teeth and just push through it, right? So, similar to AA, FA encourages you to declare that you are powerless over food, and to give it over to a higher power, to give it over to your higher power, God, your higher self, spirit. And I'm a spiritual person, so I don't actually have a problem with that per se. But on the other hand, like, to declare that I'm hopeless or helpless against food doesn't really sit well with me. So I think I can ask for support from spirit for the difficult times. And there will be difficult times as I go on this journey. So if you don't know, I'm setting out on a journey to lose 40 to 50 pounds this year in 2026, and to share my journey with you all in this program, or on this channel called Unshrunken, or Unshrunk. I'm not really sure what I'm going to call it yet. Funny that. So yeah, the shaming, it's interesting too, because language is so important. And when I heard people share, they did share, like, I have these character flaws and I need to work on them, or I worked on my character flaws, or I solved my character flaws. But at the same time, they'll say, I did it by not shaming myself. So they're kind of on the right path. And yet the word itself, character flaws, really just doesn't work for me. So what am I going to do instead? Because I do believe that I eat for emotional reasons. Am I a food addict? I don't know if that language really helps me or not. I'm sure it can help some people feel not alone, to know that to declare I'm a food addict, and know that there's other food addicts in the world and that they're not alone. But I think that I just have, like probably many people, probably everyone or most people, have challenges just being in the present moment and being with what truly is. And what truly is, in my emotional body, in my spiritual body, in my energetic body, in the facts of life, in the present moment, really, to keep it short. But I think we have a hard time with that. And I think people look to food and other habits to escape the current present moment. And so, for me, it's not just food. It can be scrolling on my phone, on Instagram. It can be going on YouTube and watching all kind of videos and going down rabbit holes. It can be playing a video game. And all of those are ways to distract myself and to avoid boredom and probably some other deeper emotion that's below the boredom, like anxiety or fear. And, it's a scary world right now. And if we think about it, there's lots to be afraid of. But there's always just the present moment, and we can come back to it and get better at that. So that's what I'm going to be practicing instead of doing Food Addicts Anonymous. If you want to follow my journey, I'll be reporting back once a week with my results, my challenges. Like and subscribe, and we'll keep in touch. Thanks.